I'm afraid of things changing. I'm afraid of things staying the same. I'm afraid of choosing as if I haven't been choosing all along. I'm afraid of myself, of what I need, of what I want, not fitting into what I have already chosen. I know some things I cannot unchoose. I know some things I do not want to unchoose. I know there are some things I want to unchoose. I know that maybe I will never unchoose them. This also makes me afraid. I'm afraid of what I want. I'm afraid it isn't really what I want. Before we come to the page, before the first word is ever written down or read or listened to, there is a longing to connect. My name is Charlie Mehrhoff, your host here at Before the Page, a podcast featuring poetry, parable, fiction, and words to echo our longing. Welcome, friends and listeners. It's mid-January 2026, and this is our 22nd episode of Before the Page. This episode will be the first of several devoted to words on fear. However, our episodes on fear will not run one right after another. They will be spread out with other episodes on other subjects in between. We begin with a few words from Taittiriya Upanishad. When one realizes the self in whom all life is one, changeless, nameless, formless, then one fears no more. Until we realize the unity of life, we live in fear. These words from Khalil Gibran, fear. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled from the peaks of the mountains, the long winding road crossing forests and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean because only then will fear disappear. Because that's where the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. That was Khalil Gibran. These next words are from Brother Thich Nhat Hanh, the great being of peace from Vietnam. It can be found within his book, Living Buddha, Living Christ. Some waves on the ocean are high and some are low. Waves appear to be born and to die. But if we look more deeply, we will see that the waves, although coming and going, are also water, which is always there. Notions like high and low, birth and death, can be applied to waves, but water is free of such distinctions. Enlightenment for a wave is the moment that it realizes that it is water. At that moment, all fear of death disappears. If you practice deeply, one day you will realize that you are free from birth and death, free from many of the dangers that have been assaulting you. When you see that, you will have no trouble building a boat that can carry you across the waves of birth and death. Smiling, you will understand that you do not have to abandon the world in order to be free. You will know that nirvana, the kingdom of heaven, is available here and now. The Storm by Sabine Miller. Anne says she's scared of the thunder. Are the birds scared too? They're crying. The parrots of Los Angeles drag their beaks across the chalked lightning. The birds aren't scared, I say. Shall I sing to you? We drive silently home with the window down just slightly. These next words come from the great Persian poet Hafiz, who lived in the 1300s. They have been brought into the English by Daniel Ladinsky. Fear is the cheapest room in the house. I would like to see you living in better conditions, for your mother and my mother were friends. I know the innkeeper in this part of the universe. Get some rest tonight. Come to my verse again tomorrow. We'll go speak to the friend together. I should not make any promises right now, but I know if you pray, somewhere in this world, something good will happen. God wants to see more love and playfulness in your eyes, for that is your greatest witness to him. Your soul and my soul once sat together in the beloved's womb, playing footsie. Your heart and my heart are very, very old friends. And another piece composed by Hafiz. How did the rose ever open its heart and give to this world all its beauty? It felt the encouragement of light against its being. Otherwise, we all remain too frightened. These next words were sent to the reader via a text message from a woman, a mother of 6, who lives on the Moshav in Eretz Yisrael, right near the valley of Elah. Idit, Miriam, Codish. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid of that feeling, that deep belly heave when I look at this question. I'm afraid of thinking about it. I'm afraid of feeling it in my body. I'm afraid of pushing it down. I'm afraid of having a psychotic break, like this whole world isn't having a giant psychotic break of its own. I'm afraid it's too much to handle. I'm afraid of things changing. I'm afraid of things staying the same. I'm afraid of choosing as if I haven't been choosing all along. I'm afraid of myself, of what I need, of what I want, not fitting into what I have already chosen. I know some things I cannot unchoose. I know some things I do not want to unchoose. I know there are some things I want to unchoose. I know that maybe I will never unchoose them. This also makes me afraid. I'm afraid of what I want. I'm afraid it isn't really what I want. I'm afraid I don't know myself. I'm afraid I am a bad mother. I am afraid I can't give them everything they want and need to be healthy, happy, whole people. I'm afraid that there is no such thing. I'm afraid of going deeper. It's scary and weird. That was Idit, Miriam, Codish. Mahatma, great soul Gandhi, who claimed, "The enemy is fear. We think it is hate, but it is really fear," also said the following: "Fear is the thing which I dislike. Why should one man be afraid of another? Man should stand in fear of God alone, and then he could shed all other fears. The more I go about in these parts, the more I find that your worst enemy is fear. It eats into the vitals of the terror-stricken as well as the terrorist. The latter fears something in his victim. It may be his different religion or his riches he fears. The second kind of fear is otherwise known as greed. If you search enough, you will find that greed is a variety of fear. But there has never been and will never be a man who is able to intimidate one who has cast out fear from his heart. Why can no one intimidate the fearless? You will find that God is always by the side of his fearless. Therefore, we should fear him alone and seek his protection. All other fears will then by itself disappear. Till fearlessness is cultivated by the people, there will never be any peace in these parts for the Hindus or for the Muslims. According to the teaching of the Gita, the first requisite for spiritual conduct is fearlessness. I want you to make a firm resolve to shed all fear. Without fearlessness, all other virtues are turned into dust. Attainment of truth or nonviolence is impossible without fearlessness. Fearlessness does not mean arrogance or aggressiveness. This in itself is a sign of fear. Fearlessness presupposes calmness and peace of mind. For this, it is necessary to have a living faith in God. That was Mahatma, great soul, Gandhi. And to add an exclamation point to the words of Mahatma Gandhi, these few words from poet Clint Frakes. As for fear, it is only the alarm clock in your mind asking you to invite God to the moment. Let me repeat that. As for fear, it is only the alarm clock in your mind asking you to invite God to the moment. Clint Frakes. And now we go to the great poetess of the Colorado Front Range, Maria Beradi, entitled Taboo. Break with the precedent of magical thinking, your team's jersey, your knocks, taps, your lucky shirt. Worry never helps anything. That is true. But to not is some violation, some radical break with the primitive, primate mind. To live not knowing and to not hold breath, to actually live instead of waiting for life to start again after. Apostasy to attempt. Necessary. Go ahead. Break. Be a fool for right now. Don't think. For always try to live in, stay in the home of the moment. And these words also from Maria, entitled Learning the Horrible Lessons. Sometimes you are in hell, so be calm. Crack a window. Let in some fresher hell air. Sometimes you are just in hell, and it is unbearable. In mortal fear there is no such thing as crazy. In the most primal states you are reminded that you are a body, as the hot hook twists your intestines. Drawn, cautered, prickles of adrenaline, a sheen over skin, each heartbeat a death. Then yank, back to life, a blitzkrieg of neurons hammering. Run, stop, stay. Stay. That is another one. Maybe the hardest, to not physically leave and to not mentally leapfrog into past, into future, to tolerate now. This comes from the wonderful book entitled Education and the Significance of Life by Jiddu Krishnamurti. One of the results of fear is the acceptance of authority in human affairs. Authority is created by our desire to be right, to be secure, to be comfortable, to have no conscious conflicts or disturbances, but nothing which results from fear can help us to understand our problems. Even though fear may take the form of respect and submission to the so-called wise, the wise wield no authority, and those in authority are not wise. Fear in whatever form prevents the understanding of ourselves and of our relationships to all things. This also from Krishnamurti's Education and the Significance of Life. Conscious and unconscious fear has many different causes, and it needs alert watchfulness to be rid of them all. Fear cannot be eliminated through discipline, sublimation, or through any other act of will. Its causes have to be searched out and understood. This needs patience and an awareness in which there is no judgment of any kind. To be free from all fear, we must be awake to its darkening influence, and only constant watchfulness can reveal its many causes. And this, for all you science fiction aficionados out there, from the late great Frank Herbert, Litany Against Fear. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me, and when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. This next short piece was sent to the reader in the year 2007 by H.F. Noyes, a.k.a. Tomas, sent from Atticus, Greece, shortly before he passed. My death poem. 70% water. I feel kinship with the waves. How absurd for a wave to fear the coming calm. Let me repeat that. H.F. Noyes, My Death Poem. 70% water. I feel kinship with the waves. How absurd for a wave to fear the coming calm. We will now begin to close this episode of Before the Page with a message delivered March 16th of 2020 to the Hopi and beyond. Message from White Eagle. This moment humanity is going through can now be seen as a portal and as a hole. The decision to fall into the hole or go through the portal is up to you. If they repent of the problem and consume the news 24 hours a day, with little energy, nervous all the time, with pessimism, they will fall into the hole. But if you take this opportunity to look at yourself, rethink life and death, take care of yourself and others, you will cross the portal. Take care of your home. Take care of your body. Connect with the middle body of your spiritual house. Connect to the egregor, the non-physical being of your spiritual home. Body, house, medium body, spiritual house. All this is synonymous, that is to say, the same. When you are taking care of one, you are taking care of everything else. Do not lose the spiritual dimension of this crisis. Have the aspect of the eagle, which from above sees the whole, sees more widely. There is a social demand in this crisis, but there is also a spiritual demand. The two go hand in hand. Without the social dimension, we fall into fanaticism. But without the spiritual dimension, we fall into pessimism and lack of meaning. You were prepared to go through this crisis. Take your toolbox and use all the tools at your disposal. Learn about resistance with indigenous and African peoples. We have always been and continue to be exterminated. But we still haven't stopped singing, dancing, lighting a fire, and having fun. Don't feel guilty about being happy during this difficult time. You don't help at all by being sad and without energy. It helps if good things emanate from the universe now. It is through joy that one resists. And also, when the storm passes, you will be very important in the reconstruction of this new world. You need to be well and strong. And for that, there is no other way than to maintain a beautiful, happy, and bright vibration. This has nothing to do with alienation. This is a resistance strategy. In shamanism, there is a rite of passage called the quest for vision. You spend a few days alone in the forest, without water, without food, without protection. When you go through this portal, you get a new vision of the world because you have faced your fears, your difficulties. This is what is asked of you. Let them take advantage of this time to perform their vision-seeking rituals. What world do you want to build for yourself? For now, this is what you can do. Serenity in the storm. Calm down and pray every day. Establish a routine to meet the sacred every day. Good things emanate. What you emanate now is the most important thing. And sing, dance, resist through art, joy, faith, and love. Resist, resist. Well, friends and listeners, thank you so much for being along on this episode, this 22nd episode of Before the Page. If you desire to reach out to us, that's easy enough. Go to beforethepage@gmail.com. That's just how it spelled, just how it sounds, beforethepage@gmail.com. Until the next, peace and be well.